Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Avarna Shakti, the Avarna Shakti of Maya, also known as the veiling power, And if you have an Indian mouth, you will pronounce it as veiling power. Sounds like W-A-I-L-I-N-G, veiling power, and it would not be wrong to describe Avarna Shakti as the power that makes you wail, because it is like a thick curtain. Yeah. So, the Avarna Shakti of Maya is what? It's like a tight embrace between this you, the content of you, the truth of you, which is Satchidanandam Brahma, which is Paramatma, which is Ishvara. That Ishvara you, the tight embrace between that and the Upadhi, that which makes the Upadhi stick on you, is Avarna Shakti. Avrinoti, Asamantat vrinoti, covers. Again, after covers we have to use a very important phrase. What is that? As though. Yeah, because if the covering is real, then it cannot be removed. That's why in India, in order to be able to afford jewelry, which is very difficult, pure gold, so they will say gold covering, meaning it can be removed. You wear the necklace and have a few showers and then, it's gone. So, that is why it is an as though covering, because thank God, this is where Vedanta shines, because it can be removed. And it need not be actually removed, it can be cognitively removed. And that is what this whole study of the Panchaka is. Don't worry about the text, I will explain everything. You relax, because sometimes, people who are not used to this particular teaching style start worrying. Okay, already the third class, we have yet to enter the text. When? 5 more verses. Okay, so on an average, 3 classes for 1 verse. So we need at least 15 classes for 5 verses. It doesn't work that way. Don't worry, that's my job. Yeah. Let me think about it. You just enjoy and relax. In case anybody is having that thought, you can let it go. So, the Avarana Shakti of Maya is the power by which, that magical power by which you start considering whatever is connected to you, like your hands and legs, as your own. Body, my body, and then there is not much time between my body and me body. My house, me house. My t-shirt, me t-shirt. That's why if you are going on a walk and you see a person walking their dog and you say nice dog, the dog doesn't say woof, thank you. The person says thank you, but I never said anything about you. I commented that you had a nice dog, but somehow there is that, tadatmya. Tadatmya is a fancy way of impressing your friends and saying the word identification in Sanskrit. Yeah, try it, Tadatmya, just say I'm having tadatmya with my body. Too much tadatmya with my sorrow, Looks like you're having a tadatmya attack and you will become very famous. So this is what is called tadatmya, the complete conflation of the I, or that which is the indweller of the upadhi with the upadhi. This is what is avarna shakti, spelt out. Because what does it do? It covers, like I told you, it's a mother who smothers. So it's a smothering embrace of this Maya mother who is called Maya. Mother because, she's the matriarch. And so this is what is that point of that embracing, that veiling power is the manifestation of avidya. And it's like not chicken who crossed the road, another one, chicken and egg. Yeah. Actually, that's the non-vegetarian example. Vegetarian example, which came first, tree or seed? Tree, seed. So, which came first? Did Maya's embrace come first? Did Maya hug me first and then I became Ajnani? Or did Ajnanam come first and then it sought Maya's embrace? This would be just like, you will be arguing till the cows come home, which is never, okay? So, which is like a long time. And so therefore that is not a useful road to go down, because, and this is why we say Ajnanam or Atma Ajnanam, the self-ignorance, does not have a beginning. We have made it very simple. Vedanta Shastra posits that self-ignorance has no beginning at all. There cannot be a beginning, because, otherwise we'll be down a very slippery slope and we'll be without proper shoes. This is what will happen, we'll go down this slope. Because if you say Ajnanam began at 1 BC or AD or whatever it is, you say, okay? Now BC has a different meaning. Before coronavirus. This is the new BC. Okay? Anyhow, back to our discussion. Because the topic of coronavirus is very vast, and this is not the time to go there, although I'm tempted, but this is not the time to go there. Maybe later we can discuss it as a manifestation of Maya. So, so BC, long ago, let's say Ajnanam began at such and such a date. If we were to give a date and a time that Ajnanam began, then what was there before Ajnanam? What was there before Ajnanam? What will you say?
Sorry, Jnanam.
Jnanam. Because Ajnanam and Jnanam are like oil and water, they are opposite of one another. So if and wherever there is Ajnanam, there is no Jnanam. And wherever there is Jnanam, bye-bye Ajnanam. And so before Ajnanam was born, so to speak, what was there? You have to say Jnanam. Then this Ajnanam is so powerful, you will have to ask yourself that it replaced Jnanam. Then what am I doing here? What are you doing here? Why are we studying about Maya? To be able to understand more about oneself as Ishvara, because then in another time, in another space, in another place, this Jnanam that I have gained will be similarly replaced by Ajnanam. Therefore, we have, the Vedanta has made it very simple by saying Ajnanam has no beginning, Maya has no beginning, Maya as Atma Ajnanam has no beginning date. It was always there as a possibility. Wherever there is a head, that possibility enters. Simple. Messy. Yeah. So this is what it is. She said, latent cause. As a latent cause, Maya is there even between two kalpas, where everything goes into a state of dissolution. But that latent cause is there. The cause of Ajnanam is there. So when the Jiva knocks on Ishvara's door, let me in, I need to individuate. And I'm not using it in the Jungian sense, okay? There it means some kind of an enlightenment. But here, psychological enlightenment. But here, individuate simply means I need to separate from everything from you. Starting with you, you are so boring, you don't do anything. I have desires. And they need hands, they need legs, they need a head to, plan some nefarious activities. I need to rob a bank now. So, because why? Because it's just, I like the thrill of it. I want this, I want that, I want to go bungee cord jumping. Why? Because the last remembered, what is that? Incarnation was spider. Yeah, that's why. Came in, went up, came in, went up. Bungee cord jumping desire is still there in the mind. This is all the whole thing is. This is how upadhi works. The upadhi that you get into as the jiva depends upon the primary and the most predominant desire. Not the main desire, the predominantly, developed desire. So if the predominant desire is Vedanta, you will always have a human body. You need not be afraid of lifetimes. It's wonderful. So, anyhow, so the thing is, Ajnanam cannot have a birth date. Ayyo, then are we in a problem? Because if self-ignorance has no birth date, self-ignorance here is equal to Maya. They are one and the same. We have talked about it. Once they have hugged, it's all over. It's one. So then, if self-ignorance does not have a birth date, does it mean that it does not have a resting peace, death date either? Thank God that is not the case. The death date is there. When is it? Right now. Right now, Ajnanam is dropping. As soon as you say the word Avarna, that is the blessing of Vedanta. You make Avarna Shakti into a social fact. You exist. And you are trying to fool me, and your bluff has been called. It is truly the beginning of the end of Ajnanam. Absolutely. Because, so think about this, because so many people not studying Vedanta, who don't know how we for Vedanta at all, they don't know that they have Atma Ajnanam. They don't know that they have been embraced by Maya so completely. Correct? And so it's very difficult to shake off the cloak of ignorance if you don't know that you are ignorant. But here, the knowledge that I am ignorant is enough. It's like a bee in the bonnet. You cannot stand ignorance of any kind, especially when it is centered on the self. So you frantically take all the measures to drop that ignorance. Thank God. So this is Avarna Shakti. Avarna Shakti means this Maya, the power of this Maya in the form of she who conflates you with your upadhi, with the mind, with the body, with the senses, with your possessions, with your dispossessions, because sometimes one cries, I don't have this, I don't have that. So she conflates you with all these things that you begin to, so much so completely, that you begin to completely, identify with all of them as the extent and the be-all and end-all of who you are. And as a result, one is given to sorrow, one is given to strife, one is given to pain, one is given to all kinds of problems called, in short, samsara, a life of becoming something or the other. Very, very sorry, I am a samsari. This is what the whole thing is. The one who has a sum total of sorry experiences is a samsari. That's all it is. So this is Avarna Shakti. And how do I shake off this cloak? Vedanta Sharanam Gacha, Shastram Patha. Study Vedanta. Take the refuge of the teacher, of the Shastra, of Vedanta. That is what it is, because, the cloak is as though I feel muzzled and I feel completely, stifled. But it's not a real cloak. It's an as though cloak. And the as though cloak is, is removed, because if the as though cloak feels real, then you have to tell the person that this is not real. Like the person who comes in from the road and is jumping up and down. Snake, big, snake. They cannot even talk in full sentences. They are agitated. So first the body of the person is examined. Where is the telltale fang marks of the snake? No bite mark is discovered anywhere. And then the next question has to be inevitably asked, where is the snake? Show me the snake. Then with great difficulty you make that fellow composed enough to take you to the backyard where the snake was seen. Snake, okay? And then please point out where the snake is. And the man, who is in agitation, points to a rope that was lying down in the grass. That was just laying in the grass. And then that was the one that bit me. And the family members heave a sigh of relief. Okay, you can't say nothing is wrong with this fellow. Something is very wrong with him, but it can be easily taken care of. Doesn't need 911, unless that 911 number belongs to a Vedanta teacher. Okay, unless that's the number. You don't need any, it's not really an emergency, And it is, but it is really not the kind of emergency they thought it is. Because the person is not in any danger, immediate danger. So the person has to be first calmed down, given some fruit juice or some water to drink, hydrated, and then a paper bag, because hyperventilating. When you hyperventilate, you need some carbon dioxide. So that's why paper bag, and then you blow into it, and after a while, apparently, you calm down, That's why I'm happy that we didn't have paper bags at the time of the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because in the first chapter and the beginning of the second chapter, Arjuna was so agitated. If Lord Krishna would have said, the bag is right there underneath your seat in the chariot, there's a paper bag. Please pull one out and go. We would not have had the Bhagavad Gita at all. Arjuna would have immediately calmed down, and then, he would not have waited till 18th chapter to say, Karishye vachanam tava, I will do as you say. He would have, killed off all the beings, and then there would have been no Bhagavad Gita. So the paper bag is a modern invention so that we can enjoy the Bhagavad Gita. Back to our story, okay? And this is how Vedanta is. It has to go round a little bit. It has to have some contours. It has to have a personality of its own. Otherwise, what's the fun? So back to our story. Why paper bag? Because this was given to the man to get some nice shots of carbon dioxide and then calm down. And then you take him back into the yard again and say, that was not what? A snake. It is a rope. Aropa. You did an aropa, you superimpose the rope, on the snake that was in your head in the form of fear, and then that's what happens. Then you laugh, the man also laughs, and everything is wonderful. So if you see, this is the upaya for the ajnana sarpadashtaha, for the person bitten by the serpent of ajnanam also, this is the same upaya remedy. Just in the first example, in the first instance, you don't need to go around and look for the snake, or you don't beat up the rope snake. Bad boy, why did you bite my father? The person doesn't need to do that, because the biting was not real, because the snake is not real. It's a notion that I am bitten. Similarly, I am bitten by ajnanam, by ignorance, is also a notion that is dismissed cognitively. So the upaya, the remedy for avarana shakti of Maya, for coming under the rock of avarana shakti, is Vedanta jnanam, Vedanta pathanam, is the committed study of Vedanta, which is what you are doing right now in the form of this retreat. So this is what is called Avarana Shakti, an as-though power, because Maya is an as-though power, so the veiling power is also an as-though veiling power, and when you veil as a result of the veiling power, that's also an as-though veil. Okay? So this is Avarana Shakti. Then we have another Shakti of Maya, which is in the form of all knowledge, I told you. Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa means what? Projection. Kship, to throw. She throws. She throws Ishvara around in various permutations and combinations, and herself too. As the material and the maker together, they stage a show. And whatever she projects, becomes real, so to speak. Each thing becomes real because of Avarna, and the Avarna and the Vikshepa are dovetailed together. They always go in tandem. There is no Vikshepa without Avarna, and there cannot be Avarna without Vikshepa. Both go together. So Vikshepa is the result of Vikshepa is this entire colorful, creation with its various names, forms, words, meaning, endless. Every day new things they discover. And then, like deep sea creatures, whoever knew? I mean, we never had any, instrument that could go beyond a certain level in the sea, in the ocean, because of that barometric pressure problem. It would just break up. But now they have made a casing for that camera that will withstand barometric pressures, and then it goes deeper and deeper, and then it just hangs out there. And then various funny looking things come and close, inquire into this camera, inquiring minds, you see, they are amazing, because they have no eyes. They don't need eyes, because at that level there is no light. The light of the sun only penetrates this many feet into the ocean. After that it's all dark. So they don't have eyes, they don't need eyes. Look at the intelligence here. Look at Ishvara's knowledge and Maya's Vikshepa Shakti combined here, so beautiful. And so, but they need to distinguish one another, because otherwise they'll be like things that go bump in the dark, which is all the time. So they need to know predator from prey, and they need to distinguish one another for the sake of avoiding one another, for the sake of reproduction of the species, etc. And the intelligence of Bhagavan here is that they are iridescent. They have this, they are like neon. And then they go together. Certain colors go together. Certain colors repel one another, so they know they belong to the opposite species of predator and prey. So if they see that kind of a glowing, I'm making this up because I didn't read that whole article fully. So, I just read enough to enjoy it. And so if supposing the blue pulsating color, blue purples are seen, the one from the other family, yellow-green family, will not come anywhere near. They will just, avoid them and go. And these creatures, amazing. You can see all their entrails. You can see everything inside. Clean, wonderful. And if they have eaten something, that body of that also you can see. They are just so transparent. And they are glowing so that they can recognize that is the source of light. It's just so brilliant. This is Vikshepa Shakti. And, whenever you are in touch with this Vikshepa Shakti, especially from a place of Vairagya, objectivity, and we'll have more time to talk about that, don't worry about it now. So, from a place of, just admiring it from an objective place, when you are in touch with Vikshepa Shakti, you are in touch with Ishvara. You are touching Ishvara. You are admiring this whole setup, which is an infallible setup of knowledge. Form, name and knowledge. That's, basically what it is. So the Vikshepa Shakti, is, as I told you, it is, on the level of the collective is Vikshepa Shakti. It operates predominantly on the level of the collective. And how does it operate? In the form of this manifest universe that is non-separate from the manifesting power, Maya, that is non-separate from the manifesting intelligence, Ishvara. It's all one endless manifestation. This is what is Vikshepa Shakti. But then, as I told you last night, these two things are not, cut and dry. Vikshepa at the level of the collective, Avarna at the level of the individual. No. The individual also has Vikshepa. Yeah. Collective avarna is also there because, like for example, what is the collective avarna now? We don't know how to get rid of coronavirus. See, it has come. I told you it will come. We don't know. Vaccine? No vaccine? Prophylactic drugs, something preventive, or some kind of a cure? We don't know. We just have partial knowledge. That is avarna on the collective level. Each head and the group of scientists, each one is trying to see how to, corner this and make this bring this pandemic to an end. But there are so many unknowns. How long does it live on plastic? Well, we say 3 days. But somebody else who did that, who did a research on all those early ships, those cruise ships, they said 28 days it lives on metal and plastic. I mean, who knows? Does it mutate? Well, now they are saying that the second batch of infections that are coming in China and Korea, they have a new strain. Even thinking about it, the mind is drained, very sad if that is the case, because then we have to have a vaccine to cover that as well. That's extra work. So, how many strains are there? I don't know. Avarna, collective avarna. Nobody knows. Can it be cured? I don't know at this point. We are hopeful. Then, you ask anybody. You ask any of these, biologists, infectious disease specialists, all the people, doctors who are on the front lines, who are researchers. And is a vaccine possible? We are optimistic. When will it be ready? We don't know. Maybe in 12 months, maybe in 18 months. Will there be a second wave? There is no reason why there should not be a second wave. This is how they'll talk, So there's so many things you don't know. This is all collective avarna, where we see the little crown of this coronavirus. That's all we know. But there is much that is unknown. At a certain time it will be mastered, it will be known, then there is no avarna, correct? So collectively there is a avarna, and similarly individually there is vikshepa. How is individual vikshepa? Individual vikshepa happens all the time. You are walking, and then you see somebody there, and nowadays everybody is in mask. You don't even know, And then you say, oh, they are frowning at me. And they are not frowning at all. And even if they are frowning, it may not be at you. They are just furrowing their brow so that they'll adjust the mask. It's slipping off, So sometimes you have to make faces. But what do you think? They're frowning at me. Why does the person think the other person is frowning? Some memory of somebody frowning and somebody looking upon one with displeasure early in childhood leads one to this kind of a conclusion. Vikshepa. And what is the avarna here? At the individual level, the avarna is what? The unconscious mind, which is the storehouse of all the painful experiences the child could not process. The child had no way of processing these painful experiences, and so it got stored so that the child could safely grow up. And then later on, it is aired out and it has to be processed later. It comes in the form of projections, first vikshepa, and that vikshepa is wrong assumptions, subjective projections, subjective, it's called transference and projection. The word itself is projection even in psychology. So the projection, this is all the individual manifestations of Maya, in the form of vikshepa. For vikshepa, for Ishvara, vikshepa is a glory, it's a vibhuti. For the individual, the vikshepa has to be withdrawn. Vikshepa has to be, you have to say oops, and it's like a spit up. It has to be withdrawn, cleaned up. When the baby has too much milk to drink, it burps up some of it. That is what vikshepa is. You have taken in too much, more than what you can process and stomach, and then you have transference, you have projections based on wrong assumptions, internalized at a time in childhood where you did not know, and where it sat in the form of insecurity, etc., etc., and that insecurity is aired out every time, something happens that is inimical to you or you consider inimical. This is what is called, personal vikshepa. Because of the personal avarna. What is the personal avarna? The personal avarna is, not, that unconscious mind. All the storehouse of various pains and sorrows that are hidden from you. This is personal avarna at the individual level. Avarna at the collective level, one way, intimate way is Atma Ajnanam, another way is through so many things we don't know as a collective. Avarna at Ishvara's level, not there. Ishvara has no avarna. Maya does not affect Ishvara in the form of veiling from him his own powers, because Maya and Ishvara are one. It's all knowledge and power. Since he wields the power, he is exempt from that avarna or covering power. What about vikshepa in the form of, at the level of Ishvara? This whole universe, the Jagat is a vikshepa. The whole Jagat is a vikshepa. Very, very interesting. So at that collective level, you have to remove the avarna, but you cannot remove the vikshepa. Why? Because just because you have Atma Jnanam now, you have self-knowledge, then you have to see everything as one. You don't have to go knocking down all the forms and names. The forms and names remain. They don't go away. The vikshepa doesn't go away in the light of self-knowledge. The Jagat doesn't suddenly disappear. That would be a bore, because already not many people are interested in Vedanta. You have to keep convincing people, come on, study, don't drop off, keep doing this, you are getting it. You have to keep encouraging. And then what, And then suppose, after Jnanam, the whole world becomes one and resolves into you, then it will be a big bore. Nobody will want to come, because they still want to enjoy the world. Thank God that doesn't happen, because it's all a cognitive affair. Vikshepa doesn't go anywhere just because you have knowledge. Like even the child who is in 4th grade, starts to 3rd or 4th grade, takes geography and starts to understand that it's not the sun that rises or sets, and it is in fact the earth that is moving around. The sun is stationary, it's the earth that moves, that gives a semblance of sunrise and sunset. So now you know, correct? Now the 8-year-old, 9-year-old knows, oh, it's the earth moving, the sun doesn't move. But still you can go and enjoy the sunset, correct? Even after this geography lesson, you can go and say, look at the painting. This is a perfect painting. You can say that. And you can say that even full well knowing that the sun is not setting, nor is it rising, nor is it painting. It's all an apparition, an apparent reality. But you can still enjoy it. So you enjoy Ishvara's world, Ishvara's vikshepa. After gaining Atma Jnanam, you enjoy the world as a manifestation of Ishvara. You don't have to break it down in order to experience quote-unquote oneness. Okay? You can appreciate the oneness even though there are many names and forms. So that is the level of, at the collective level, the avarna is what goes. Vikshepa, stays. Vikshepa cannot go anywhere because it is the manifestation of Ishvara. It stays, but it doesn't have a bite anymore because you have called it spoof. You do not identify with it because there is no avarna, even with your own body. Now, then at the individual level, the avarna in the form of the unconscious mind, stays. Doesn't go anywhere. Why? Because it is Ishvara's vikshepa. Your unconscious mind is a projection of Bhagavan, so it too will stay. But then, when you learn to withdraw individual projections fed by the unconscious, when that unconscious mind disconnects from your projections and stop projecting things, then, there is no problem. So on the individual level, you withdraw your vikshepa, the avarana in the form of the unconscious mind stays. On the collective level, the avarana has to go through the pursuit of Atmajnanam, the vikshepa in the form of Bhagavat Srishti, Ishvara's projection stays. It is so beautiful. It is very, very nice. So then, now we have covered a lot. We have covered avarana, vikshepa, we have covered the ajnanam, everything. But then there is still one more thing to talk about in the form of which usually comes in the form of the question. It is put like this: how did this one non-dual Ishvara become many? Ishvara did not become many, narrator voice. Okay, well, but Ishvara, how does Ishvara appear as many? And again we say Vikshepa Shakti, but how does this Vikshepa Shakti operate? So this is very brilliant. So the Vikshepa Shakti operates by having us, by trapping, like even a spider. See, the spider doesn't go anywhere. The spider builds a nice, beautiful, symmetrical web and sits in the center. And hapless insects come and they are trapped in the web. And the spider says, okay, lunch taken care of. Dinner is coming, it will come soon. And what about breakfast? I'll make another web, no problem. By that time I have a lot of time. This is what Maya is. So Maya's Vikshepa Shakti includes a net, a web, so to speak. And what does this web have? The web has kind of, what is that? Trapped for itself. Time, space, and then certain mental, emotional predilections called guna, colorations. Guna literally means attributes or qualities, because this is a very nice name for these predilections, because how did nirguna, that which is without attributes, become this whole world of which is nothing but attributes? How did that happen? Because of the web called time and space, and because of the three colors, sattva, rajas and tamas. Now everybody knows, sattva, rajas, tamas, people know. So I don't have to spend a lot of time over it. A little introduction is enough. So sattva here means what? These are qualities. They are like the primary colors in Maya's paint palette. Yeah, she's an artist, I told you, she paints. She's painting a tapestry. She has given a body for you. She has given a body for, and here is your place of work, office, where you're not allowed to go yet because of quarantine. And there is you're sitting at a little desk working from home. And there is your home. There are other people living in the home. There is your child disturbing you. You're saying, go, do something else, I have to work. The child is not understanding. And then, and then you look out of the window, and then suddenly there is a world outside of your window. There is a sun coming up or going down, and then there are trees, flowers, grass, and then the neighbors walking their dog, and you saying hello and them waving back. It's like a movie. Yeah, Maya movie. It's like a constant movie. And this is what it is. How is this all happening? It's like a cartoon, it's like because it is funny ultimately, sad and funny, but at the same time. So it's like a cartoon. You quickly draw, and you draw many things, and then in the when we were children, we used to make these drawings and go like this with a book, and then it would look like there is some animation happening. There's some animation happening, and there are colors, there are things. So she's a painter, she's a very quick painter, and she catches the mood very quickly. And sattva is the color of the gods, devas, the celestials. Sattva is contentment. Sattva is non-demanding nature. Sattva is godliness. Sattva is cleanliness. Sattva is things in balance. Sattva is accommodation. Sattva is forgiveness. Sattva is compassion. kindness. This is all sattva. And then what? And then, sattva is never out of balance. It is the only guna out of the three that is always in balance, is this sattva. And then what do we have? Rajas. And what is rajas? Imbalance. It is quickness, quick reflexes. Because if rajas is disturbed, if a tiger comes, you cannot run. You will say, maybe tomorrow. That which is that, that adrenal rush is because of rajas. The guna of movement, the guna of being like quicksilver, quick reflexes, quick mind, quick conclusions, that sharpness, that acuity, and the grasping of, when you listen to a Vedanta class and you have this many aha moments, yes, I got it. That is, thank God, because of rajas. You cannot badmouth rajas, because this is all because of rajas, And then, when it is out of balance, this poor rajas, it drives itself stir crazy. It's running around in circles, can't sit still. When you cannot meditate, even though your life depended on it, you want to meditate, but then the mind doesn't cooperate that day. That means the mind has had an extra layer of paint by Maya in the form of rajas for that day. And rajas also out of balance is anger. How did you do this to me? Who did this? Impatience, anger, and all these things, out of balance. Restlessness, fear, also rajas. Then, what is the other one? What's the last one? Tamas. Tamas. Tamas also we need. In balance, it's a wonderful thing. It is what lets you sleep at night. Sometimes during the Vedanta class also. But that is when it's out of balance. So, tamas is that which lets you rest. It is the principle of inertia which has a place. When we were small, our elders would always say, don't pick the flowers at night. Don't pick leaves at night. The tree is sleeping. Respect that. So, and also, certain flowers should be picked during the full, during the full moon. Not at night, but during the day, but during the full moon. Certain herbs are picked during the new moon. Again, planting cycles with the lunar, this, that. So that is to be in tandem with this principle of inertia. Like, when is it a good time to go underground and kind of stay there in the invisible state, or like a seed slowly germinating. The power to germinate, rajas. But that inertia is very important because it's that hidden process of kind of an invisible growth that is happening because of tamas. Tamas also is patience. When in balance, is the patience of 1,000 elephants. Elephants are supposed to be very patient animals. So then, patience is tamas. Love is also tamas. And because there is some kind of a staying power, fidelity, faithfulness, loyalty is all this, is all a kind of a good manifestation of tamas in balance. Tamas out of balance is what, at the best you can say sleep. Otherwise, slothfulness, overeating, not understanding when, that the stomach and the mind have a 20-minute gap. You have to stop eating 20 minutes before you are full. But how do I know 20 minutes before? You eat less. And then if after 20 minutes you are still hungry, you eat a little more. That's all. Very easy, spread it out. So that, that when it is in imbalance, tamas is slothfulness. a kind of a different kind of an anger, a grudge-bearing anger, a grudgy anger, kind of a, what is that, resentment. That's the word I was looking for. A resentment, an anger that is passive, aggressive and festering within perhaps. And then tamas is also in the form of sorrow, feeling victimized. All this unbalanced. And this is the paint palette of Maya. Don't think it's just for the human being. Dogs, cats, rocks, everything. There is sattva, rajas, tamas in various and endless, infinite number of combinations. Little bit of sattva, little more of sattva, lot of sattva, little more rajas, little less rajas, little more sattva, little less rajas, all these various, endless combinations. So they are the primary colors like red, blue, green, with which all the colors are born. And so these are the primary colors in the palette of Maya, which she uses to make this one, so to speak, make this one Ishvara, this one Satchidananda presence into as though many. That is why she is seen as someone who is a weaver. She weaves this tapestry. And actually it should be called trapestry because you feel trapped in it. You're trapped in it, so to speak. And so she weaves this tapestry of all kinds of names and forms. And then you are in it. You are bound, so to speak, by the gunas, as though bound. And then what? So time and space are also part of this vikshepa that she engages for her own. She makes time and space into her servants, and everybody feels trapped in this travesty, travesty, whatever you want, in this travesty of this time, space and gunas, And so one just keeps on wailing, let me out, how do I come out? How do I come out of this horrible picture? I'm trapped in this picture, so to speak. Everybody is out to get me. Lions, tigers, people who behave like beasts, and all kinds of things. People who are yapping at my heels, people who are bugging me, and people who are doing this, doing that. How do I come out of this nightmarish canvas of this painting in which I am trapped? This is the feeling. And why is that feeling of trapped so real? Because that is the delusion. That's why we cannot call Maya illusion. She is very much a delusion. And how to come out of the gunas? Well, let us just meander over to the Bhagavad Gita to see what we might learn. The Bhagavad Gita is very clear how to come out of the gunas, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasthaha Niryogakshema Atmavan. Very beautiful. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. O Arjuna, hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, all this whole universe full of names and forms, including that which is expounded by the Veda. Here the first portion of the Veda that talks about how to relate to the to Ishvara's Jagat, how to relate to the world of names and forms. And so this how to relate, etc., is all based on making that relationship real. Correct? Yeah, you make that relationship real because that's how it appears to the person. So the Veda takes you step by step. First you have an altar, you pray to Bhagavan, and you do a fire sacrifice. Fire sacrifice is real, ghee is real, your hand that is putting the ghee in the fire is real. And then the phala means the karma phala, the effects of this are also real. And all this you have to, take it as real, because you're not at the place of questioning the avarna and questioning the vikshepa, because you've still taken it for granted. So the Veda just helps you along by making one a dharmic person, the first portion of the Veda. So Arjuna is told, you know what, buddy, it is time to graduate from the first portion of the Veda. That is what, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. The first portion of the Veda, with its myriad do's and don'ts, Vidhi and Nishedha, is what? Is just, is just within that time's praise and guna matrix. It is within that travesty called this tapestry of life. You are trapped as a painting here. And so, as long as you keep on walking around, you are still walking around in the painting. As long as whatever you do, you are still in the painting. You are trapped. There was a very nice sci-fi, British sci-fi show, which somebody told me to see, very, very nice, long ago. And it was of this man who was some kind of a secret service agent. And he was trapped in this dystopian island whose location was not clear at all. I don't know the name of this. And so each show, each episode was him trying to escape and somehow coming back, falling back in that thing. So in that island there are friends, and then there are people who are inimical to him, and there is always some voice from some anonymous voice of some kind of an Ishvara of that island. Some dictatorial, but not like our Ishvara, some dictatorial ruler who wants to keep everybody trapped, some power hungry dictatorial ruler. And then he just does, he's always there. He in one episode he would go near the sea, and then spend a lot of time making a little raft, carrying little pieces of wood, and at night somehow tying them together and making a raft. And then he would be rescued, within quotes, rescued by another big ship out at sea. And then who were the people? The people who he had already met on the island. They're like, oh, you were taking a nightly little sail, come on, be with us. And he was the last, they were the last people he wanted to see. And in another episode, he manages to escape. And then he goes to London. He's somebody he doesn't even know, takes him on a little helicopter. He goes to London, and then it is little bit changed, but he recognizes the apartment. And he goes to his apartment, and he knows where he has hidden the keys. And he lets himself inside. And then, he hears some noise in the kitchen, Now first he looks at the calendar, he says, oh my God, it's such an auspicious day, it's my birthday today and I'm back in my house. I'm back from that dystopian island for good. There's some noise in the kitchen, he's wondering what's happening. And the lady he knew back at that place comes with a cake and candles. Many happy returns, meaning now we are going back. This is Maya. Very brilliant. I don't know the meaning of it. I don't know the prisoner. It was called The Prisoner, yeah. So, long back I had seen it. And so it is just this world is like that if Maya is not understood properly. And if one is keeping on reproducing the three gunas, even as one is wanting to get away from it, one is reproducing the gunas. This is not the way to go about it, Arjuna. You have to have a vantage point that is not available to you right now for want of knowledge. And that's why whatever you're doing, you're getting more and more entangled into it, And the more it's like separating noodles. You try to separate noodles, you attain oneness with the noodles, because the noodles are now all over. They're all sticky mess. Okay? And so this is what happens. The more you try to get out of Maya, the more she has a hold on you. The more you try to escape. That's why, people who say, I want to avoid Maya because Maya is a problem. That means you are reproducing Maya even by thinking that and saying that. If you go to the Himalayas, you don't avoid Maya. Himalayas is in the form of Maya. If you avoid women, you don't avoid Maya, because Maya can come as a man also, no problem. If you avoid anything, that itself, that avoidance is Maya. No, but I don't want to hug Maya. She is already hugging me. I don't want to hug her back. That's why you need a cognitive vantage point. And that cognitive vantage point is, is unfolded in this verse that I just quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, which we will see at length tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Again, to catch up, if you have any questions, you can ask. Again, to catch up on this or other lectures that you are not able to attend, you go to this livestream.com/Swaminiji, and then you can not only this talk but all the talks are archived there, so you can do that. Okay, so if you have any questions, Sudha had asked a question. I thought Maya was a problem, And Chris says, my wife is calling me for lunch. Hope it is not Maya. I also hope that you have a wonderful, nourishing lunch. Not a Mayic lunch, okay? So, what was the Bhagavad Gita verse? Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. So, tired of my ah. Oh, very nice. Want more ma. Very nice. Is Prakriti described? Yes, Prakriti is described. Correct. Which chapter? Which chapter is the second chapter, I think? Or second or third chapter? Tomorrow I'll give the thing. I can't suddenly think of it right now. If somebody knows, you can type the verse number. I think chapter 3 or something. I'll let you know tomorrow, okay? 245, chapter 2. Thank you. 245. Nice to see all of you. When we have pains, it is real. It is real. The pain is there, but the suffering is not real. Pain is real, and for that real pain, you take some real Advil and then be done with it. But if we feel like complaining all the time, then there is a Maya there. Everything is as though anyway. We'll come to that. Pain is real, but not as real as the observer of the pain. Raji, nice to see you. Once an individual is one with Ishvara, why are Avarna and Vikshepa not disappearing totally? Because they don't need to. They don't need to disappear. Just like the sunset does not need to disappear because you can still enjoy it, even though you know. That is the thing. Even though you know that this is not really a sunset, you can enjoy it. It doesn't have you don't need to, if that which is inimical to you is diffused, like a bomb is diffused, the bomb shell, you can put it in a museum and admire it, no problem. Namaskaram, Professor. Nice to see you. Who is feeling the pain? Bhaskar and Lalita are asking from Detroit. And the Ahankara is feeling the pain. The Ahankara is also Mithya, that we have to cover. Tomorrow we have time, and day after tomorrow also we have time. Yes, so don't worry. So wonderful to see all of you, and we will, if you have any more questions, you can write down, and I will answer it tomorrow also. Okay? All right.